here are my supplies. So, and I have the camera angle as if, you know, you're seeing it from my point of view. So Jenny and I both feel like that helps a lot. And that's the view we try to always give you if it works. So, you know, when we did all our pre-cutting way back in June, this is what my zone 2 looks like. So I've decided I'm going to start with the bees. So let me look here. I feel so organized. All right, bee zone 2. So I know that's the body. Let me find my wings. B zone 2, and then I also need some background and here. So I only need those sections for making my bees. So we'll get those out. And look how nice that is. We're just taking this one block at a time. If we look at zone 2 in our book, zone 2 is on page 10 right here. And it shows you exactly what you need to make. So our B block is on page 38. So I'm going to 38. Here's 38. And then remember how we just, you know, we look here and it walks us through, like it says, oh, here, you need to cut these curves. Well, where am I, how do I know how to cut these? Refer to page 6 and 7. At this point, you guys are like, we know, and it's back here. Okay. So for cutting curves is always to look back at our reference sheet. So my very first thing I'm working on is, my first curve I'm cutting is with the wings, and I should have, let's see, this is for one B block. I'm making 2, so let's just double all our efforts right here at the beginning. Okay, so this fabric is a teeny bit directional, but the block is so small, you're really not going to notice it. So you can focus on it or not. Totally up to you. I am just going to go ahead and put these, you know what, I'm just going to do it all right side up and just show you that it really doesn't matter. So we're not going to stress about it. I have 4, and these are all 3.5 by 3.5. And then I know I need to make it look like the pattern. And I'm using my Wonder Curve ruler. And the first thing we're doing is cutting the A shape. And remember, when you use your Wonder Curve ruler, you know, make sure you can read the words. And I'm looking at the orange line. And here's a little reminder for you. The words right here are in orange. That tells me I'm using orange lines for this cut. Shimmer A, I'm lining up all 4 underneath the solid orange V. And then I'm cutting in my curved slot. This is my discard. These are my, I need 4 of these to make 2 Bs. Or 2 B objects. Okay. Now for our body, we are doing the exact same thing. And again, you can worry about it, you can not worry about it. Your body does show up a little more on directional fabric, so this is a stripe. So the easiest thing is just to put them, have them go the same direction, and put them wrong sides together. Okay, they're all, and then I'm going to stack them. And then I'm doing the exact same cut, so put it on an angle. And again, we're using solid orange line, line up the V, and cut in your curved slot. Discard that piece. Now this is your body, and then the last thing we need to do is get our background pieces. You know, what is the other part of the curve we sew to? All right, here we should have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is not directional. I'm going to cut all 6, and I'm making the B, meaning the letter B shape. So that's only a teeny bit confusing. Our first step is to cut this in half diagonally. And then I'm just going to work with 1 at a time here because I have 6 layers. And I'm looking at this 90-degree angle, putting that on the 4, 4 intersection, so 4 and 4, and then go ahead and cut off the dog ears. Now you're making it look like your pattern, and back on pages 6 and 7 it shows this orientation. Go ahead and put the Wonder Curve ruler down with the solid orange box corners there, and then we cut in our curved slot, and I knew that didn't go clear through. It's all right. This gives us our B, letter B shapes. And let's do the same thing. So here again, we're looking at the 4-inch intersection right here. Put the 90-degree corner there. Cut off the dog ears. Rotate. And now the Wonder Curve ruler goes on. Put the solid orange box corners. And then anchor it and cut in your curved slot. 6 layers is a lot to cut. I do know that. All right, and just like that, I have all of my pieces cut to make 2 B blocks. So next step in the pattern, right here, we are going to set it up. It shows us what we set up here. So we need 2 wings and 2 backgrounds. I'm making 2, so I'm just going to do it all. And then I need the backgrounds. And then I need my bodies. And then I need the background for those. So here I'm set up. These are for the other part, the other side. We're going to sew this and then cut again. And this is how we get our wing. So this is this is the first time we've made this block. So it's a very fun block to make. But here's where we're starting. Both of these sets sew up exactly the same way. And remember, there's only one curve to sew. Only one curve. All right, when you're sewing, it goes to the sewing machine like this. You have concave on your left, convex on the right. Convex flips over, and for this one we have a 1/4-inch tail right here, and that tail is just from the A piece corner up to the edge of the background piece. And then we're going to sew our curved seam, and we're going to do that with all of these. So I'm going to show you one, and then I'm going to chain piece them all. Okay, as a reminder, we are concave on the bottom, convex on top. We will always sew the curves this orientation. And I'm just going to sew a couple stitches. And I've connected both pieces now. And then as it feeds, I hold one in each hand. So I like to hold the top one with my left hand, and then the bottom one I just maneuver around. I'm never grabbing the bottom one and yanking on it. You might need to hold yours opposite, like this, where your right hand manages the top and your left hand is on the bottom. So find one that works for you. Try both. And then as it stitches, I'm just watching right here as it goes under the presser foot. That's when the 2 curved edges come together. And then notice how I keep my finger and hold it in place and then feed it off. And then if I just want to keep chain sewing these, the next one's going to go like this. And you can easily sew all of them without stopping, checking, and this builds some really good muscle memory for your fingers. You know, how does it hold it? How does it feel? What does the curve feel like? Okay, as a reminder, okay, this was our seam. We started here, we went down. If you have a really long tail, you're pulling on this bottom piece as it feeds. And I know you don't think you are, because that's how I used to sew. So I just have to maneuver that bottom one with one finger. I have to tell myself, don't grab it. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the rest. All right, I just wanted to show pressing. So I actually like to press from the back first, and for this, the pressing diagram shows that you press to the A piece and then flip it over and press on the front and make sure you don't have a little fold right here on your curve. All right, I have gone ahead and pressed all of the pieces, and now we have these. So your body pieces set aside, and if we look at our pattern, so this is what we've done up through here. So now we're on step 5, and step 5 we're working with the wing pieces. So grab a wing piece, and we're going to set it up how the pattern shows. And on our Wonder Curve ruler, we are looking at this solid orange curved line. So we are going to place our AB piece underneath the Wonder Curve ruler and put your solid orange curved line on your seam. Zoom in. Just shift that a teeny bit. So you can see the orange curve here. And I'm just putting it on top, not here. I actually like it a little bit on top, so I just see the edge of that A piece. And then hold this securely. I look down here, I kind of center it, make sure I'm pretty square to the block. If yours doesn't match up all the way, just look at the ends here. It doesn't have to match exactly all the way. And then we go ahead and take our rotary cutter and cut in our curved slot. And this is garbage, and we're keeping this side. And then our next step is to go ahead and add another curve. So let's do it one more time. We're making our wings, set it up how the pattern shows. Put your orange solid curve on your seam, and then kind of split the difference here. Make sure you're kind of square to your block. And then cut in the curved slot. If your rotary cutter is still hitting the edge as you go around, keep the blade hugged on the convex or the hump. Okay, so we're going to do that with our wings, and then we're going to sew. So I will show you sewing. All right, the great thing about this is, remember, there's only ever one curve to cut. So we're going to sew this exactly the same. It's the same big shape, even though we've now added a curved seam. Concave stays on the bottom, flip this over. This time make the tail a little smaller, closer to an 1/8 inch. That will help center it on the B piece better. And then a couple stitches, and then the same thing. Bring curved edges together as it feeds. When you get here, make sure you don't flip your seam. And there's our cute little bee wing. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do that with all of these. And then when we press, this time we're pressing away from the wing. So we're going towards the background, and that will help so that we don't get too many layers of fabric in these corners when we sew our blocks together. Okay, we are ready to square up our blocks. All right, here is my A BB block, citrus block, after I pressed this last seam. All right, so in our instructions, it tells us that we are going to square up both of these to 3 by 3. And we used orange lines for cutting the curves. So we're going to use the orange dots over here on these two sides for squaring up our block. So let's square up the body pieces first. And I like to just make it look like the pattern with the B piece top right, and then the body is here. If you are a left-handed sewer, if you are left-handed, just turn your pattern 90 degrees to the left and set it up the way the picture looks here. And then you'll do the same here. Everything will just go 90 degrees to the left. Okay, so I am just putting the orange dots right on the curved seam. I'm looking to make sure I can get 3 inches. Yes, I have plenty of fabric all the way around. You can see that, my orange dots right here on the seam, Hold your Wonder Curve ruler securely. Now I'm trimming 2 sides. Trim the side, trim the top. Now lift your ruler, don't rotate it, just lift the ruler, rotate your block, reposition Wonder Curve ruler with trimmed edges, the ones we just cut off on the 3s, and then trim whatever is left. And then we have our little 3-inch perfectly workable block now. So however your tails are, they just get squared up. Okay, so we are going to square up all of the body pieces to 3 inches. We are also squaring up our wing pieces to 3 inches. So position with, again, orange dots. Look at your orange dots. Orange dot right here on the wing point. So just position those. If your wing is a little bit short, go ahead and split the difference between them. Or if you notice when you put your B together that only one point actually touches the body, the other floats. So if your wing is a little bit short, and I'm sure I have one that's a little short because, you know, that's just kind of the nature, then go ahead and just put 1 dot on it, you know, pick one, and the other one can float a little. All right, dots match on the points. Yes, I have enough to get 3 inches. Trim 2 sides, rotate your block. Now reposition, put trimmed edges on 3-inch marks. So you can see 3 inch, 3 inch. Go ahead and trim off whatever is left. And there's your perfectly squared up block. So I'm going to do that with all of mine, and then we'll talk about assembling our block. Okay, all my pieces are squared up. All right, let's lay this out and make a B shape. Okay, so B's can go, your body can actually be facing 2 different directions, and it's just a fun feature. So here we have 1 B, and then the pattern does show that these B's face opposite directions. So I have this other one with, you know, however you want to think about it. Like this side is high, this side is low, the opposite here. And notice here I have, one thing that you can look at here is that on your wings, if both of the seams here are like going into each other, I like to alternate one, because then when you sew them together, they nest a little better here. You'll get less layers of bulk right there. So the second B piece we put on is here and here. And then notice in my B that my stripes on the yellow are going different directions. So I know I did them right sides together, wrong sides together. That's all I have to do, is just find the one that works to swap it out. And in the quilt that Jenny and I both made, we've got them going every direction. Sometimes the bees are all nice and lined up when we remembered we wanted it that way, but then other times we didn't do that. So, and it doesn't matter. It's adorable either way. So now we're going to sew here, press that seam open, and then sew these 2 rows together, press the seam open. Oh, look at these cute little bees. Aren't they great? Right here where you get all those layers, go ahead and press that open. And then if you want to put a little starch or use some of the, there's a couple different pressing liquids that will help. I just use water in my iron or use a spray bottle, and that'll help flatten out that section. Okay, that's it. We've got our bees done for zone 2.